closed. Taco Bell closes its doors in my face. The other place that was open until 8. What a burger. Yeah. I don't even know what I bought. I just wanted food. This is a Monterey Jack melt. Anyway, no. Mushroom Swiss melt. I'm not going to eat that right now. I'll eat it in a minute. Anyway. It's Christmas Eve. Yeah, it'll probably be Christmas by the time this thing finishes uploading. It actually felt a bit Christmassy this time. You know? I mean, Christmas after a certain time, it just becomes whatever. But, when I was leaving my door to go up to, the food places, there was actually stuff left out on my porch there for me. And they're all from family. And that's not something that normally happens. I don't really talk to family much. I don't know. I'm just that way. I don't really talk to many people much. No, that's not true. Anyway. It felt Christmassy because it was actually stuff from family on Christmas Eve. Wow, goddamn, haven't had that happen in a while. So, what are we looking at here? Well, of course, my mom must send me a card and include money in it. And I tell them not to. I tell my parents, don't send money. You're getting old, you're going to need this money. You know, they don't listen. They do not listen. And the other thing my mom sends is cards that my brother draws. I don't know. He's just like that. Your obligatory annual angel that she makes out of whatever is laying around. And newspaper clippings from funny pages. You know, the funny pages from those old things people used to look at. I think they were called, what, newspapers? Something like that. Yeah, I think they were called newspapers. It looked like a bunch of bugs on a piece of paper, and they made words and stuff. Yeah, you don't see that much very often. Anyway, let's see. Check out this neat pen. Real good for hard-to-read labels. God, I feel like it's my 5-year anniversary at work. More like 20 years away. Okay, it's a pen. She wasn't lying. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. This is one of those pens where you're like, am I breaking it? I don't know. I'm guessing she went to QVC or something, you know, and saw this and was like, a pen that writes? Damn, I've never seen one of them before. Anyway, it's cool. It's cute. It's cute. She tries. She tries. Let's see. There's something in here I can't identify. I'm reading the label and I still don't know what it is. Is it jelly? Ingredients: Marion berries, lemon juice, and fruit pectin. Okay, so it's some kind of jelly. I don't know what Marion baby... I don't know what Muppet babies are. I don't know what Marion babies are. I'll try that later. Truth be told, when people give me jelly or whatever, I usually end up giving it to people who eat jelly. But I'll try it out. I'm curious. It's rather not sugary. So apparently Marion berries taste like raspberries that have had almost all the flavor extracted and no sweetness. Yeah. Yeah. Is what it is. I guess that's why you don't hear of Marion berries very often. Other than that, she sent me material to make a ghillie suit, you know, when the Russians invade, you know, so I'll have plenty of protection and camouflage out in the woods, you know. Oh, Jesus God. So help me if that fucking box falls over. Anyway, it's nice, it's thoughtful. Now, I haven't talked to my brother for like 20 years or so. And I actually had a package from him, because my parents never asked for anything. This year they did. And he was the only one with the link, so I connected with him. He gave me the link, and I also sent him some shit in the mail, and apparently he sent me some shit in the mail too. It is Star Wars Black Chewbacca and Beat to Hell C-3PO. And this is strange. This is really strange for a strange reason. Let me see what date it was. Yeah, right there. How strange is that? Yeah. December 12th, I ordered Star Wars Clone Wars C-3PO broken. Yeah. It's like, what happens is you have these Chinese companies and they make everyone's toys all across the world. And sometimes things fuck up. Like, you know, like sometimes they close down the manufacturing for tonight and accidentally reopen it and start making more and selling them on eBay with no package. And sometimes, you know, a fuck up happens and they just end up making too many of a figure for something, you know, from like a missed digit, and they sell them on eBay for cheap. I don't know why I was looking at broken ass C-3PO, but there he is, and I ordered him. And it should have already been here, actually. Well, no. Well, you know, from China, you never know when you're getting it. But I ordered it, apparently. And here's the Star Wars Black version. Just days later. Okay, that's weird. Because, when it comes to me bonding with people, like if I start talking to people, even online, I start to bond with them. And the next thing I know, well, weird synchronicities like this happen like crazy. Supernatural? Quite possibly. Quite possibly, given other things. But yeah, here I bought a figure just a few days ago, and then I get the larger version from my brother, who I haven't talked to in 20 years, for just, I mean, why? Why broken C-3PO? And this is cool. Like, I didn't think there was any black figures I would actually keep. This is actually kind of cool. And he's huge. Holy shit. Chewbacca's huge here. Let's see, what does it come with? Please don't insert nostrils. Keep away from anus. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I'll be damned. You can actually assemble this C-3PO. That's weird. I didn't know that. I thought he was just broken. Oh yeah, I'll be damned. That's cute. He comes with a little mesh net, you know, for Chewbacca to carry him around on. It has like an armhole here and an armhole here, so he can like strap it to him. That's cool. Here's C-3PO's body as it is. I like that. I like how fucked up he is. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, there's a synchronicity. How does that work? Does that come off? Yeah, okay. You take off his broken circuitry. That's cool. That's cool. It's like you got these hollow bundles of wires that go into his sockets. That's neat. Oh my god. These pegs are so skinny that you think they're going to break. Let me show you that. Look at this little mushroom dick. I mean, it looks like it's going to break. It really, really does. But it's not. And that's a damn good thing, isn't it? Oh, it don't want to turn at all. I don't want to break this. I do not want to break this. Okay, at a different point in time, I shall move that. I don't know how. I'll have to do something clever to make it turn. I don't know what that will be. Maybe stick it in the freezer? No, maybe not. I don't know. I really don't know. But at the end, you have 3PO, who's a little bit wobbly because I didn't want to break the pegs. And he looks good. And he has his silver leg like he was supposed to in the old figures, but they just made him all gold chrome, you know. Personally, I prefer him with that leg gold, but this is at least movie accurate. A lot of people forget that part. Yeah, it's cool. And it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. If I ordered mine, my little tiny version that's unpackaged for $6 on eBay. Or whatever the fuck that is. And it's like I ordered that on the 12th. What day did my brother get the idea to go looking for this old figure? I mean, this is from... 2019. Oh, I guess it's newer than I thought. I didn't realize. Huh. It's still a weird synchronicity, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know about this figure. I mean, I didn't even, I never pay attention to Star Wars stuff, honestly. Chewbacca, your joints too? I don't want to break it. Damn. God, man, I'm just, these figures. Chewbacca is absolutely massive. He looks a little bit weird with the way it hangs down and stuff. I don't know what they could have done to avoid that. Well, for one thing, they could have made the colors mesh closer. That would be a #1 priority there. It's not bad, though. He has that kind of swept back hair look that he has sometimes. I'm surprised he doesn't have his bowcaster. But I guess maybe in the movie he didn't have it at that moment? I don't know, because it looks like he has like the old Kenner type Stormtrooper blaster, but just larger. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to rewatch Empire Strikes Back and see. Empire Strikes Back was the best movie in the whole damn Star Wars series, by the way, in case you didn't know. God, did anyone see that new movie? Oh my god. There were leaks about what would happen in that new Star Wars movie, Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And every leak was right. Every leak was right. Yeah, see, Chewbacca looks weird with just a little tiny baby blaster like that. It's not bad, though. And then, of course, you know, he wears the bag on his back and C-3PO. But yeah, that Rise of Skywalker movie, oh my god. It's like, the first half of the movie felt like a cartoon, like when characters fall into another universe, from like, you know, like Muppet Babies falls into Star Wars or something, and they're running around from scene to scene, like going, wow, look at this, wow, look at this, you know, and stuff you've already seen before. That was the first half of this movie. They were just rushing around being stupid. And then it's like, then the movie slows down and they actually had drama. And it wasn't terrible like The Last Jedi was, you know, like the movie before it that Ryan Johnson fucked up, you know. And but you get to the ending, and you have all these spoilers, all these Sith guys all sitting in a stadium cheering on, doing nothing. No big fight scene with them. They're just kind of there. Very dumb. The Emperor. He looks like Davros from Doctor Who. He's half dead. He's on life support, literally. And then, like in Doctor Who, his plan was to get the good guy there and suck out all their energy to rejuvenate himself. And then the Emperor does force lightning up into the sky to knock out a fleet of ships, just like the Doctor did when he was fighting Davros' kids, the Daleks. He shot his regeneration energy into the air and knocked out a fleet of Daleks. It's like they were just ripping off, like, Doctor Who. And oh my god. Oh man, just no. And you had the creators of Star Wars, they're like, oh yeah, all that talk about the endings, that never happened, so, you know, that's a lie. Turns out the ending was exactly what we were told it would be, you know. Star Wars, poor Star Wars. But this is a keeper. This is actually a keeper. Now I'm wondering what I'll do with the small one. I don't know. That's just a funny synchronicity. I hook up with people. It doesn't matter if they're relatives or if they're strangers even. It's like if I hook up with them, we're thinking the same things. I don't know. So, it's Christmas Eve, and what goes good on Christmas Eve? A horror story. No. It's not a horror story, but it does relate to my brother there, as I point at C-3PO. Okay, if you're a skeptic and you have seen this channel before and you've seen the supernatural videos I've put up and been like, bullshit, help me out here then. You give me the alternative to the supernatural with this. Okay, it's the first quarter of 2017, and I'm at work, and some dude who recently started there, I've never talked to in my entire life, he comes up to me and he goes, bro, you talk to your brother? And I'm like, haha, bro, haha. Never have a first introduction with me calling me bro. Anyway, he's like, you talk to your brother? And I'm like, no. He's like, you didn't talk to your brother? And I'm like, no. The last time I talked to my brother, it was a different century. Were you even alive then? You know, and, you know, he's like, that's weird. I go, why is that weird? He goes, because he was in here looking for you. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. He's like, yeah, he was in here looking for you. He asked for you by name, and I'm like, my name, which other people here have. Yeah, sure. You know, let's just call it. Let's just say it was me. And he goes, no, he described you too. I'm like, oh, did he describe me with the long hair, like the other one has? He goes, well, yeah, but he described you more, you know, specifically. I'm like, okay, whatever. I go, mistaken identity, not my brother. And he's like, no, he was your brother. He said he was your older brother. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I do have an older brother, yeah. And he goes, yeah, and his name was, and for the sake of this video, let's call him Charles. I don't know. He goes, yeah, he said he was your older brother, Charles. And I'm like, okay, that's fucked up, because A, I don't think the other person with my name has a brother, and B, he is my older brother Charles. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, though. And he goes, well, like I said, it's your brother. And I go, like I said, whatever whoever or whatever that is, that's not my brother. And he's like, what do you mean by whatever? I'm like, don't ask. There's stories I could tell. But, I go, something's coming in here and saying it's my brother. That's not my brother. I haven't seen my brother since before the turn of the century. I think I talked to him maybe in 2001, maybe? 2000? I don't know. It's been almost 20 years anyway. And he's like, that's really weird because he came in here for you. And I'm like, okay, you've got my attention. What did he do? And he's like, well, he came to the front of the building and he was talking to me and to the other chick. And in case any of you who know me in real life are wondering if I'm being legit with this or any of what I say, that chick still works there. This kid doesn't, but the other chick that was with him still works up at the front of the building. So this guy came in and he goes, hey, where's Jinzo at? And they're like, we can't tell you? And he's like, come on, I'm his older brother Charles. Come on, where is he? And they're like, look, per company policy, even if a person by that name does work here, we A, can't tell you, and B, can't tell you where they are. So you're barking up the wrong tree here. We can't do anything for you. And he's like, come on, I'm his brother. Where is he? And they're like, you're not listening. We can't do anything for you. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, well, what happened next? And he goes, oh, nothing. I'm like, okay. So if I walk to the front of the building right now, I'm just going to have a guy standing there doing nothing? He's like, oh, no. No, he did nothing for 10 minutes. What happened after 10 minutes? God, this kid's not smart. Anyway, he's like, well, what happened after 10 minutes is he snapped out of it and started asking the same questions all over again. Like the first time never happened. And I'm like, wait a minute. What was he doing for that 10 minutes? He goes, well, he asks us questions about you, and then when we deny him, he just goes blank and stands there doing nothing for 10 minutes. And I'm like, holy shit, what happened next? And he goes, nothing. I'm like, nothing. I go, so again, I'll walk to the front of the building and there'll be a guy there all like just in a daze. And he's like, no, he just did it again. And I'm like, okay, how many times did he do this in this visit? And he goes, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. We were getting creeped out, actually, after a few times. I'm like, and nobody told me about this? And he's like, no, we just assumed that you reconnected. You know, that he eventually found you. And I'm like, no. I go, whatever that is, it's not my brother. I'm like, you know, clearly, someone that knows where I work, the time I work, what I look like, and that I have an older brother, and he knows his name. Clearly, this person should know where I am. Anyway. Because they have this arcane knowledge they should not have. That I don't talk about. I don't tell people this shit. I don't tell people this shit. At all. And so I'm like, well, if you ever see him again, keep doing what you're doing. And he goes, we'll probably see him again. And I'm like, well, why do you say that? And he goes, because it's about time for him to do it again. I'm like, what did you just say? He's like, well, he does it regularly. I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck? I'm like, how many times has this happened? And he's like, well, A couple times. I'm like, when did this start? When did you first become aware of this idiot? And he's like, oh, it was like, I don't know, sometime in the fourth quarter of 2016. I'm like, motherfucker. It's the first quarter of 2017, and this has been going on a couple times. In the fourth quarter, what, did I get that right? It's the first quarter of 2017, and he's been doing it since the fourth quarter of 2016. My brain's not working right now. Yeah, so I'm being told this in the first quarter of 2017. It's been going on since the fourth quarter of 2016, and he's done this multiple times, and this bitch hasn't told me. I'm like, why isn't anyone telling me about this? And he's like, well, I mean, he lives in the area, so, you know, it's not like you won't eventually meet. I go, my brother does not live in this area in Bumblefuck, Texas. My brother lives in some state I don't even know. Starts with an I or an O or something. I don't know. I don't know where he lives in the country. I'm like, whatever this is, it's not my brother. And he's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's definitely not. He's like, well, you said you haven't seen him for 20 years. I mean, you know, I guess, like, you know, he just wants to reconnect. I'm like, no, motherfucker. No. No. If my brother came to Texas looking for me to reconnect, he would know exactly where I am. He would announce himself, or at the very least be eccentric and walk out from behind a tree like, hello. You know, just, you know, he wouldn't be going to my place of work and acting confused and going dormant for 10 minutes at a time. And he's like, well, what do you think's happening here? And I go, honestly, I've seen weird shit in the paranormal, and this looks kind of like that, you know? And he's like, well, what's it doing? And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I go, what do you mean he lives in the area? He's like, oh yeah, he's down by the train tracks and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, my brother doesn't live in Texas, and I think he's only been here like twice in this state, maybe. I go, this is not my brother. And he's like, well, come on, I've seen him around. And I go, look, I haven't even been in Texas for 10 years. There's no way this guy has been, and he's my brother. You know, we didn't just happen to move into the same bumblefuck town. You know, it just doesn't happen that way. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here in Texas. I need snow, I need cold, I need ice. But, you know, I go, where have you seen this guy? And he goes, at parties. First thing in my head, drugs. Drug parties or something, you know. So anyway, I go, okay, look, this is really fucked up. I go, if you ever see this man again in here asking for me, tell me about it. Keep not telling him where I am. And if you know anything else, tell me, you know. So months pass. I kind of drop it. And one day the guy's walking by me, and I'm like, so anything ever happen again with that guy? Because, you know, I mean, as you have heard, I'm not working with someone who's the brightest fish in the barrel there. And he's like, oh yeah, actually I do have some information. And I'm like, well, what is it? And he goes, I know his name. I can show you a picture of him. And yeah, and I can tell you approximately where he lives. And at that moment, he whips out his phone and he shows me the picture of this guy, which is nothing like my brother, even though his description of him sounded like it at first. And I got the guy's name. And one thing I noticed is, on this kid's phone, I saw where the man worked. And when I went home later that day and ran his name through Facebook, I couldn't see where he worked. It apparently was a buddy with him. I'm guessing a drug connection, honestly. And he goes, so yeah, you're able to talk to him now if you wanted to. I go, have you made him aware of me? And he's like, no. He goes, but this is his information if you want to. He goes, are you going to? And I go, I don't think so. He goes, I gotta warn you though. I gotta warn you right off the bat. He's a junkie. He's a tweaker, you know. And I go, I know. And he's like, I thought you didn't know the guy. How do you know he's a tweaker and a junkie and all that jazz? I'm like, because of things in the paranormal I've seen before. People who do hard drugs and shit. See, I don't want to start talking about that shit. I don't want to mess up anything skeptics might have to say, but I'll just say, in the paranormal, when someone's weak, like with drugs and whatnot, they are very prone to be overtaken temporarily, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. And that's what I pretty much said to this kid. You know, I'm like, I had no doubt that there would be drugs involved in here. You know, it's like I've seen weak people able to be just used temporarily. You know, and you know, he's like, oh, so how are you going to talk to him? I'm like, I'm not. I'm not going to talk to him. He's like, what? He goes, but you have all his information now. You know, you can go to his house if you want to. I'm like, I'm not. And he's like, why not? I've given you all the information to go confront this guy, you know? I mean, he clearly has something that he needs to say or something. I go, that's the problem. I'm like, you have definitely a paranormal connection in here, in my opinion. And he has knowledge which he shouldn't know. And both of those things are just, if I were making a trap for me, that's how I would do it. That's probably how I'd do it, or assume somebody else would. You know, I mean, you have someone I haven't talked to in a long time. You know, a normal human reaction would be to reconnect with somebody after time. I'm not a normal human, though. And then you have the fact that they have all this knowledge to back up that concept, you know. But then even the fact that they failed because they didn't get access, that adds a paranormal aspect to this, and that I can't get past. If I were making a trap for me, this would be the trap. And he's like, don't you want to know what's going on? I'm like, oh yes, I do. Too much. I want to know too much what's happening here. And that tells me right there that this is a trap. You see, you ever hear, like, well, who hasn't? You hear, like, old vampire stories and stuff, and it's like, you know, oop, don't invite them in your house. They're there to stay, you know, and they'll suck your blood or whatnot. And the paranormal, like I've said before, definitely has rules. There are definitely rules in play. There's definitely things that sometimes break those rules. And there's definitely things that step in and fix the balance quickly. I could go into detail on that, but man, another time. Maybe. But in this case, what happened? Man comes in, has knowledge he should not have. And he's acting like he's in a daze. And when he doesn't get his way, he shuts down. When he doesn't get granted access, he shuts off temporarily. It has to be paranormal. It has to be paranormal. If you're a skeptic and you're watching this, and you're saying, no, there's probably a very logical explanation for this, do you not understand that if this is not paranormal, that the conventional explanation is going to be severely fucked up? If this is not paranormal, if this is not some kind of weird paranormal trap for some reason, and if I've encountered traps before, oh god, that sounded funny. But, I mean, it's like, I've encountered paranormal traps before that were during really dark times when a lot of crazy shit was going on, and that's the other thing. I'm not even protecting anyone right now. I'm nobody. I'm like nobody right now with the paranormal. This shit makes no sense. I mean, before, when I've encountered shit like this, I was doing something. I was in charge of something. I was guarding something. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go into detail. And, that's long gone. I'm no longer that. I don't do that anymore, So, I'm nobody in the paranormal right now. But this has to be paranormal because, and this is where I need some skeptics if you want to help me not think this is paranormal. You've got to tell me if this isn't paranormal. This means that some entity, some person out there has taken a druggie, has brainwashed them, and that they can only get to me through a trigger word of being granted access to my location. Do you realize how preposterous this is? If this isn't paranormal, this is someone who's been brainwashed. The only logical, sane conclusion is that it is paranormal. Because if it's not, holy shit, what are we looking at here? I mean, you see like spy movies or whatever the fuck, and it's like, or like sleeper cell type shit, and what happens, you have a guy who's been programmed and they hear a word and then they're like, I must kill the president, and it's like, that kind of shit. That's what if you're saying this isn't paranormal, that's what you're saying. That someone's been brainwashed to hunt me down? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And keep in mind, this happened at the first quarter of 2017, so I've had plenty of fucking time to analyze this. And it pisses me off because I could, technically, go hunting this guy myself. Maybe that's what I should have done. Instead of initiating contact with him, maybe I should have just hunted him and observed him. I wonder if I can still remember where he worked. But even that in itself could be a trap, too. Yeah, maybe even just the act of hunting him down and trying to observe him from afar is the trap itself. You never know. I can tell you one thing. My gut instinct says no. And when your gut instinct tells you things, you gotta fucking listen. You have to, or bad shit happens. Just like I said in that video there, I forget what I called it. Damage avoidance system? Something like that. I forget the name. But, you have to trust your gut. And my gut tells me this is a trap. Or that it was a trap, because it's apparently not happened since then. Like, when I became aware of it, I think that was the last time. So, yeah, once... Isn't that interesting? That, too, is interesting. Once I got all the information to be able to escalate it myself, that's when he stopped coming in, apparently. Yeah, that doesn't feel trappy at all, does it? But yeah, man had arcane knowledge he should not have known of me. He knew where to find me, He knew about my family, which I don't talk about. And he goes blank when he's denied access by others. I mean, there's, that has to be paranormal. Because if it's not paranormal, there's some other party out there that's fucking with me, that's sending someone who seems to be brainwashed my way, and then knocking that down is the fact that even though they know all that information about me, he can't advance unless he gets access from other people. Paranormal. The paranormal explanation makes the most sense here. Because if it's not, someone's been brainwashed and is... I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And, like I'm saying, if there's any skeptics watching this and going, oh my god, Mr. Paranormal thinks he's seen something paranormal. Bitch. What the fuck else could it be? Anyway. So, yeah. Wasn't that a nice Christmas tale? Oh, God. This is just weird, though. I had just bought a small version of this. That is so weird. Synchronicity. So, yeah. Merry Christmas? I can't eat these. I'm hungry. Oh. Here's how stupid I am. My fries are fucking cold. I should have been eating them the whole fucking time. Not bad. Good night. Dear God, it's fucking huge. Dear God, it's fucking huge. Do I need a fork for this bitch? Jesus Christ.